there, Taralei. Almost there. We got about 20 minutes here. Oh! 10:35. I'm on time today. I don't know what happened to the farmer's market. I was supposed to have them on. Probably got lost upstairs.
Oh, probably. I mean, yeah, I walked in and I was a little like, whoa, am I in the right place? There's a whole... It was like sent me back to my middle school dance days, you know? Like,
that's what it's all about here. And so we got a little bit of an unexpected field trip today, but it is cool to see all the kids going out and having fun and making me realize that, well, I haven't been in this place for a middle school dance in almost 15 years, and my time is slipping by me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And, well, you know, there's more important things. There's a mural being painted, so we got to stop the press. Anyway, right. Taralei Griffin, give us some of these. So we're talking terpenes. Now, this is an interesting, to me, one of the most fascinating topics of cannabis, in my opinion, because there's so many different, you know, terpenes, and they all do different things, and they all taste differently, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, so I think the thing that... good thing to start with when we're talking about terpenes and cannabis is actually, you know, most people still use the terms sativa and indica all the time, which those aren't necessarily, with all that we've learned, those aren't necessarily accurate as far as strains. Sativa and indica are really, they're part of the scientific plant name. So there's cannabis sativa and there's cannabis indica. So it's really more about the shape that the plants take when they're growing. And so what we're realizing is that the strains, whether you're, you know, there are indicas out there that'll wake you up. There are sativas out there that will make you sleepier. So those aren't necessarily accurate anymore. Most people know of sativa as energy, indica, in the couch.
Right.
So that's,
Now, I got a question. Does it affect people differently? Because I do know of folks that say that whenever they do use sativa, they fall asleep quicker than they do if they use indica.
Well, it might be that they're getting just a sativa that's got different terpenes or cannabinoids that are putting them...
Putting them down. There you go.
So that's where, you know, we're finding out there's so much more that goes into the strains.
Right.
So it's really good to be educated on terpenes and kind of figure out which ones are best for you and what you're looking for, especially if you're using it medicinally. I brought in this book with this whole freaking big chart. We aren't going to go over all the terpenes because there's way, way too many. But so the thing about terpenes, for people who don't know what they are, the way it was first described to me when I was first working in a head shop was that terpenes, so if cannabinoids are like the meal, terpenes are like the seasonings. So like they're going to bring different flavors and benefits to the table, to what you're consuming. So
what do you want to start out with?
I don't know. That's what I'm looking here and thinking. But so they're in all plants. I think that's important for people to realize
so
too.
So not just cannabis.
No, they're not a cannabis only thing. So that's like actually my favorite terpene is geraniol.
Okay.
Which isn't super common in cannabis, but it's the main one in roses. And it's a great, right here. It's a great antioxidant, antifungal. It's a neuroprotectant too. So like some of the terpenes are neuroprotectants, which is really good for when you're using certain cannabinoids because it'll kind of protect your nerves and keep them from reacting poorly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So question for you here. With that being said, so now is this only if it's ground up or, like to me, when you said roses, I thought, well, some people do the rose, joint or blunt thing. And does that work for that?
So you can get the terpenes in roses, so geraniol, from using them just as dried petals that you use to roll a joint. I have before, so I found, I think I had mentioned this last time I was here, how there's, you can buy rose petal cones.
Yeah, you did.
And I got some after I'd been here because I was like, man, I need to do that. And
Hell of a salesperson.
Well, they had a sale for $4.20 going on, so I was like, yes, okay. That's anyway. But so they are. They taste great. They burn a little slower. But so, too, you can also just get dried rose petals and like add them to your herb. That's something I've done before. I've added lavender. I've added rose petals that I've just thrown into my grinder with my cannabis and put in my bowler
Question
joint.
for you.
Of course.
So, with that being said, because this is just my thought, because, you know, I'm the nervous Nelly that's always like, what's going to kill me? Question. So, if, maybe we're pulling them out of our garden and we maybe sprayed some Roundup on those
Don't
bad
do that.
boys. Okay. So, that's what I was going to ask. So, do you have to make sure these are untouched? You
Want to make sure there's not chemicals on them.
That's what I was making sure.
For me, I had a rose bush last year, and I was able to harvest a couple of blooms.
Okay.
But then it actually, I wasn't using any pesticides or anything, but unfortunately that rose bush then, after just a few blooms, developed a fungal disease. And so I still have to go rip that thing out of the ground and burn it because it's just not coming back. But so I couldn't use then the few blooms that came out after
because they were
because it had
contaminated.
been contaminated by this fungal disease.
That's what I was making sure, because to me I thought of, well, here'd be me. It's a nice, I'm going to finally do this. I'm digging those roses. Well, then, here I am sick and dying because of a fertilizer.
Right. No, you definitely, if you're using it from your own garden, make sure it's been at least a season that you haven't been using any
That's
pesticides.
very good to know.
Yeah, chemicals.
That's actually
look
very
into
interesting.
natural forms of fertilizer and plant stuff if you're wanting to use your own plants for adding to your.
We have a question. You got your first text question from the 314.
I've never had one of these at all.
Well, today they've been about me being I guess they're just hating me for defending the mural, but one of them's for this. First one, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
From the 314. How long do you recommend to wait before reusing the plant? So let's say what they're saying is they, maybe put fertilizer out there this year. Maybe next year, would that be okay? Or should you just maybe start a new rose bush for safety?
I would do some research on the plant that you're specifically talking about and see, you're going to need, because every plant's going to be a little different for when that grows out of their system. So you'll just want to research that plant. It should be okay after a year.
A year or two.
So if you've got something right now, just stop using pesticides and move to something natural, and next year try it out. But I would do your research on that plant, because some might take a little longer, some might take a couple of growing seasons before that's out of the system.
Good question, though. I like that.
Is a good
there
question.
we go. Your first one, and it's a good one. I'm liking it. There we go.
Yeah. So, it's just going to depend on the specific plant.
There you go. Yeah. It makes sense, though. So there's those, but take us through, what are some of the big characteristics of terpenes? Is it, I know that you have a big book here. Do they all, is there a category for certain ones?
So this chart has it broken down into the different types of aromas.
Okay.
So, or where it's found. So it's got up here, it's got the woods and the earth, so I'll kind of just touch on a couple from each section that you might have heard of, if you've been to a dispensary or a head shop or something. Before
you go, I think this is so important because I just talked to somebody that had their first dispensary trip, and it was from one of those, guys that was, a consumer back in the day, and he goes, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. So this is actually really important stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So first thing on the chart is the woods and the earth. So that's going to be we've got pinene. Pinene or alpha pinene, which is found in pine. It's also found in rosemary and parsley, and that's a pretty common one. It's in a lot of strains like Blue Dream, common strain, AK-47. It's in a lot of the Kushes. And that one is really good it's a great anti-inflammatory. It's also a good bronchodilator. It's good for asthma, for people who have problems with their lungs.
Really?
So so if you have a little bit more issue smoking, but you still are able to smoke,
right?
But you need a little more help clearing out your lungs, and you would want to find a strain with pinene.
And now, is there a certain? I hate to throw you on the spot like this, but is there a certain percentage that you need to, or does it just need to be featured on that ingredients list on the packaging?
So Usually I don't see percentages for terpenes
Okay.
on the labels. Usually what it's going to be is it's going to be kind of like they're going to just list the first 2 or 3 that they're
Gotcha.
the most common in that strain. Kind of like when you're looking at an ingredients list on food, like, you know, when you're looking, like, whatever the first ingredient is, that's going to be the one that's the most, they're using the most
Interesting.
of. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be more like that. And they're usually only going to list 2 or 3. There might be more terpenes in there than you would expect.
Really cool.
Than are even on the label. Because, too, like, that's, I usually only see, you know what, maybe I'll just do that first. I usually only see pinene, caryophyllene, linalool, limonene, myrcene, sometimes humulene. I'm looking at my list to see if there's anything else I'm missing. Those are usually the ones I see on labels, and there's so many more.
With that being said, with like the concentrates and stuff, because I know they're making like terpene pins now. I saw. How does that come into play with terpenes? Is it just a more concentrated percentage? Is it, how does that work?
Yeah, so it's the terpene pens. Are you talking about ones that also have cannabinoids, or
Yeah.
it's just the terpenes?
Just the terpenes.
Just the terpenes. Okay. So that would be, they would be specifically extracting that only.
Okay.
It's gonna be, so it's gonna be more potent. It's gonna be, sorry, I'm just trying to think how to explain this.
Oh no, because this is confusing. No, it's a very confusing topic.
Yeah, but and 2, with that, because terpenes aren't necessarily the most prominent thing in cannabis, they're likely pulling that from other plants as well.
Oh, okay.
You know, just depending on what processes they're using for extraction and everything. They could be pulling it from other plants. You're gonna have to check the label. Like, if you're using a, do you know, are your terpene pens, are they like hemp based, or
I don't have one.
Doesn't, oh,
no,
okay.
I really don't have one.
Yeah,
No, I wasn't talking for me personally. I was just going through what I saw.
Yeah. No. So I think, I know I've seen some that are like terpene based that are cannabinoids too.
Okay.
I've even seen tinctures like that, and I think that's, they're just going to be extracting the most terpenes they can and adding that in with either the isolate or the whatever spectrum they're using from.
And this is another question, because this is so fascinating. I didn't think I'd actually be this in, like, because when you said that, I thought, well, this is neat. But when we started talking, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of questions that I have personally with this. Can you be allergic to a certain terpene?
I still need to figure that out, because I don't. Because so I actually have a severe anaphylactic reaction to cedar.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty bad. Someone, I knew I had an allergy to cedar. I lived in Tennessee and was living on like 8 acres that was only cedar trees, and I was just miserable all the time. And
Cedar
finally,
fever.
I had like one of those allergy tests where they like press the oils into your back, and the worst ones for me were cats. Which I knew. And then cedar.
Wow.
And like that one was even worse than the cats. And I was like, oh, well, but I live on, you know, land with cedar trees, and I'm still alive. Well, then I was actually working at a head shop here, and another employee put cedar wood oil into a diffuser, and I collapsed and had to be taken out on a stretcher. And they had to revive me in the ER, give me multiple breathing treatments. Anyway,
Wow.
yeah. So like since then, after that, I was really worried. And since I was working at a head shop and just kind of starting to learn all this, I was like, well, what if I get, because I can see right here, carine is a terpene that comes from pine and cedar.
Right.
So I was like, man, what if I smoke a strain that has this in it? But I don't think that because I have smoked strains that have terpenes that are also found in cedar.
Okay.
That must not be what drives at least my allergy. I cannot say for sure that that's how it is with other allergies, but I don't think the terpenes are really what drives allergies when you're allergic to something. But I would be cautious. Like, if you have an allergy to a plant of some sort, look into that plant, see what terpenes there are, and just kind of be cautious if you're getting any strains or anything else that have those terpenes.
One, it's so fascinating to me because we're still learning so much about this this plant and this industry. And that's why I just, kind of throwing it out there to see in a couple of years, we might have one of those, little labels on their warning instead of peanuts. It'll say, whatever the hell strain
This
it is.
has carrying. If you're allergic to cedar,
do not take this. Well, and I think it's so fascinating. So I'm looking through here, and I'm just going to start asking because this is a very fascinating book. I might have to get my.
This is all sorts of stuff. This is just a chart
right
in here.
and
the rest of it's about extracts. But
I wanted to ask you though, because I'm seeing pepper and spice, I'm seeing citrus, herbal, floral, hoppy. Take me through pepper and spice. So what does that kind of go through?
So that one actually, the main one that you would potentially hear about in the peppers and spice section of the terpenes is caryophyllene or
I have
beta
heard that one.
caryophyllene.
Yep.
Yes. So that one's found in not only cannabis, but also black pepper, cloves, and cinnamon.
Okay.
So it's got kind of, there are some strains where you get kind of that black pepper taste on the exhale, and that's what that would be. That one, I tend to go for strains that have a lot of caryophyllene because it's really great for the pain that I deal with. It's a great anti-inflammatory. It's also an anti-anxiety. It helps with muscle spasms. So I know that strains with caryophyllene are usually promoted for like people who have MS or other things that affect their muscles. Just good for chronic pain. It's also good for epilepsy. It's an antispasmodic. So, that one can be found in Girl Scout cookies. That's actually a really good strain for chronic pain. If you have a lot of chronic pain and you haven't known where to start, Girl Scout cookies is a common and pretty good pain relieving strain to start with and try out. It's also found in Pineapple Express. That's a popular one, so that's, so that one, it's going to smell more peppery, spicy. The interesting thing too about all of the terpenes is you can just kind of glance here and see, but they've all got different boiling and burning points too. And that's the same for the cannabinoids and everything. So that's something that
wow,
we don't think about a lot, but when we're smoking, it's going to really affect, depending on how you're smoking, what sort of lighter you're using, or if you're using hemp wick, what it's going to affect how much of everything you're going to be getting as well. Usually, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I keep trying to use a hemp wick, so I'm not, getting those chemicals, but I'm lazy. So.
Yeah. Same. With that being said, so citrus, take me through that one.
Yeah. So limonene is probably the most common from that. That one's going to be found in pretty much all citrus fruits and juniper. And that one's a really good natural antidepressant. That one would be common in that one's going to be found actually in our Moondrops Day Oil that we sell that has the citrus oil in it. Mostly just for flavoring, but it's going to add a little bit of that and help with some of the antidepressant effects that CBG provides.
Cool.
So that one's a good antidepressant. It's kind of more of an energizing one. So that one's found in strains that are generally more termed like sativas. Very common in sour diesel, which is one of my favorite strains, or OG strains. And then we've got herbal, which is going to be all the different things you're going to find on your spice rack or something.
Okay.
Aside from the peppers and spices, it's going to be mint, parsley, basil, mango, even green teas, peppermint. And so probably. There's not as many with that one that are super common in cannabis, but one that menthol is actually that's a terpene.
Really?
So when you're getting menthol cigarettes, that's.
What are you looking at me for that for, huh?
Oh, I'm not. We're having a conversation.
No. What's funny is I used to smoke menthol cigarettes. Yeah. No.
Well, so I knew.
Yeah. See, she read it. So now that's very fascinating to me. So with that, what's that kind of, taste, smell? Is it all minty? Is it all?
Not all of it. So, like, up here, awesomine. That one's found in mint, parsley, basil, and even mango.
Wow.
So, and that one, it's found in strawberry cough and sour diesel. It's a good antifungal, antiseptic. It's a decongestant. Yeah, that one, it's going to kind of depend on the one. Like, one of these is even bisabol. Let's see if I can actually pronounce this. Bisabolol is found in chamomile, and it says that it's more of a tangy citrus type feel, whereas like the awesomine would have been herbal, sweet, and kind of woodsy.
That's very fascinating.
Yeah. One that a lot of people will have heard of is linalool, and that one's listed under the floral.
Okay.
And that's in the same category as geraniol that I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
That's found in roses. Linalool is really common in lavender.
I was going to ask you because that's what I was. So is that
that's a relaxing one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that one's going to smell floral. It's going to smell like lavender. It's also an anti-anxiety. It's also an anticonvulsant, and provides pain relief as well.
Really cool.
And then the last section we've got here is hoppy. And so that's actually, both of these actually, myrcene and humulene. Those are going to be the hoppy terpenes. And those you can usually find on labels in the dispensary as well.
So can I be like a cannabis snob and go, I like hops? I like hops in my... that is always
if
the
you
worst.
Want,
oh, man.
I don't know how well the bud tenders are trained and if they'll be able to be like, yeah, sure, I'll get you this strain with myrcene or humulene, but you can try.
All I know is that I'm ready to be a pot snob. You know, I like hops. Like hops in mine.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate those people.
Oh man, honestly, when I used to work at the dispensaries, the people who would come in and be like, they would talk about like, oh, I needed to be above this percent THC, or I needed to have this much of this, and I'm just, and it's like, okay, it's good to know what you want, but also, and maybe it was just a little more annoying because at the time I was working there, it was still, we were very new to rec.
Right.
We barely had any product at all,
Right.
But it was just kind of like, okay. But like, like you had time to look at the menu ahead of time, and like you're getting mad because like, oh, this doesn't. And so many people would get mad because they're like, oh, it doesn't have enough THC. And I'd point at the label and be like, it has plenty of THC though. And that's what's going to turn into THC. I don't know why I whispered that. I hope y'all could hear that.
Well, no, if you did. So with that being with that being said, we got like 2 minutes left. I wanted to ask you. I know we're moving.
Yeah,
we're moving quick. I first text question today.
Yeah,
we're building here.
We're booking it through this.
I wanted to ask you. So let's say I have a joint, okay, and we got all these terpenes in it. Mm-hmm. So what you were saying earlier, as we got about a minute left, is I can actually burn off some of those without realizing I did, and only get 1 or 2 dependent on that temperature range that they can tolerate. Mm-hmm. That is fascinating.
Yeah. And I think that might be part of where, like, pinene, caryophyllene, limonene, they've all got lower, they've all got temperatures where it's more likely that you're going to get them. So I think that's kind of why those are maybe the most common on the labels. But yes, you might... You could always be burning off some of the cannabinoids as well. So it's just fascinating how it works. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of different ways in the future to consume.
I think so too.
Because
of that reason alone.
Yeah, exactly. And figuring out how best to get the different parts of the plant to the people who need them and when they need them.
Well, you're right. And honestly, I think lighting and all that might be a topic in itself with temperatures and everything. Because I don't think people realize how many different ways there are.
We could probably do an entire segment on decarboxylation and everything at some point.
Look at you getting scientific on me. How about that?
That's my job.
Taralei Griffin, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, of course.
We had an interesting day. We'll have an interesting tomorrow. Yes. How about that? We'll see you back here at 9 for more of our daily show. Have a good day. Try your best to stay out of jail.